It's the end of the Madden 25 Ultimate Team season, which means one thing. Here come Vanguards everywhere. If you guys play online, you are sure to run into run-first players that are going to have these everywhere. I'm talking the offensive line, the tight ends, fullbacks, and wide receivers pancaking your players to the ground. And it's going to be very frustrating if you guys don't know how to counteract this. So in today's video, we are going to test 3 different abilities against this passive X Factor as an ability to see what the best results are. That way you guys can equip these abilities on your defense and start winning games easily against these run first players. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, hit that notification bell, and get out your pen and pad. Let's get after it. Now we're going to be testing 3 different shed abilities in this game that are kind of mixed around run blocking or impact blocking. The first one is going to be one that a lot of players don't talk about in our community, and that is the bowling ball, aka run stuffer. This says that block shedding is more effective during run plays. So if you're talking about, stretch calls or some sort of run up the middle inside zone, this is going to be really, really good. Obviously against RPOs that might change, or against screen passes that might change in general, where this might not be as impactful. That's why we're going to be testing out these other 2 abilities. The first of which is Out My Way. Now, Out My Way says it is a dominant impact block win versus wide receivers, halfbacks, and tight ends. You'll note here with this ability that it does not say offensive lineman. So in the event that a Vanguard offensive lineman or a nasty streak offensive lineman blocks this player, we are not expecting a positive result, but we'll be testing this here just to be certain. And then we are going to test the reigning champion ability that most players know in our game is the best ability to shed Vanguards, at least in years past, and that is reinforcement. You'll see that it says it has a higher chance to defeat run blocks and disrupt catches. So once again, what you're going to notice here is that a couple of these are just run blocks, and then Out My Way is going to be impact blocks. So might have something in terms of a stack that we might have to work on here moving forward. So let's go ahead and hit the practice field and see how this works. And while we load up, make sure that you guys open up another tab and check out my strategy website, gridirongameplans.gg. If this type of content is something that you really enjoy, you're sure to love gridirongameplans.gg. Open in 2020 is the best place to stay on top of the trends of competitive Madden. What are players doing online? How does it work? And most importantly, how do you counter it? Our vault is going to give you specially curated content every single week to the ever-changing metas, whether it's blitz setups or new coverages or AP setups or any offensive meta that we might need to counter. You guys are going to be able to get the whole story in our vault and apply that into your offense, whether it's your own offense or one of our game plans, which are the templates or the building blocks for your scheme on offense and defense. You guys get all offensive and defensive game plans at no additional charge. And make sure you guys check out our Discord channel for members, where we have over 3,000 members of the Gridiron Game Plans community, helping each other day in and day out to get better at the game. You guys can unlock the entire website for $9.95. And if you guys play college football as well, you can bundle both memberships together for just $14.95 a month. We'll also have some information about pre-sales for the upcoming Madden 26 and college football 26 cycle in the not too distant future. So make sure you guys go check it out. All right, so let's go ahead and start this test. The best way that I can think to do this is I'm going to come out and I'm going to run the trips tight end, which is found in the Seattle Seahawks offense, and we're going to run the quarterback zone. Now, with this particular setup, what we're going to do is we're going to run the out of position Surge Lamar Jackson item. This is a fullback, and believe it or not, he does get the Vanguard ability. And then at the tight end position, we're also going to run another Vanguard in the form of Ted Hendricks. Now, the reason I want to do this is that both of these guys are going to block out in front of the quarterback, and I want to be able to test some abilities in different locations, whether it be outside corner or slot defender. For this particular test, please do not worry about the overall run defense or the effectiveness of the run play itself. We are simply going to be focused on the interaction between the Vanguard and the 3 abilities that I mentioned in the intro for this breakdown. So let's go ahead and start off here by breaking down our first ability, which is going to be Out My Way. Now, Out My Way is a ability that, again, we're focused on impact blocks. This is the one that is not just run plays. This could be impact blocks on kick returns. This could be impact blocks out on the perimeter on RPOs or direct screen passes. This could be impact blocks on a toss sweep, which is a run play as well. So this is the ability that, in my opinion, is going to be one that you should look at, because this is a passive ability. You might have to pay for it. It might be free on certain items in the game. Now, in order to best do this, I'm going to move a lot of players out of the way here, and I'm going to put DK Metcalf, who is our Out My Way player on the perimeter. This is going to all but assure that he is blocked by one of the two Vanguards. Now, what I want to do is I want to give that Vanguard a little bit of room to get ahead of steam. This is a little bit of a tip within the tip. Impact blocks are typically when you have a lot of room to cover before you create that impact. So you want that running head of steam, which is what triggers these types of blocking animations. So I'm going to put him out in the slot in space about 5-6 yards off the ball, and we're just going to hopefully get a Vanguard animation on him. And the first thing you see right there is that he gets an instant shed of that Vanguard player. So you saw right there that the Vanguard Lamar Jackson was in a position to make this impact block. He gets ahead of steam and he goes to lay the wood here, and the Out My Way just instantly sheds him into the backfield, and we're able to get a tackle for a loss here on this breakdown. I want to run a few more of this because one example could be a coincidence here. So I'm going to try my best to give you guys as many looks at this as I possibly can. So again, here, I'm going to put Ty Law on the hook for this, and I'm going to put Metcalf into our flat here, so that way we can hopefully get this block on him. So again, we're looking at this right there. He just completely slipped the block altogether. So let's go ahead and put him out on the perimeter again here, and I'm going to hopefully allow for one of the two Vanguards to create contact with him. Let's see how it goes. And again, you see that he sheds instantly, and the Vanguard did not work on this play. So looking pretty good so far. Let's do another test here where we put this down on the perimeter, and we're just going to try to get one of the two guys to block him. I'm going to go ahead and line up here, so that way we can really get a block on him. And you see that he doesn't get Vanguarded at all by Ted Hendricks, who got a full head of steam, or at least enough of a running head start where you would expect to see some sort of pancake. So early on, this is a really good return on the bow and arrow ability known as Out My Way. Again, you see right here, this is an impact block. He is not going to be put to the turf here, and you see that we're able to get that tackle for loss. Now, before we get into our next rep, another thing that I want to show you guys here is if you take a look at Lamar Jackson and who he's blocking, this is the corner Mean Joe Green. This is also another Out My Way player. So in this situation, you see two Vanguards against two Out My Ways, and they both give up defensive shed wins to the players that are in run fit. So really good looks here by the Out My Way ability. Now let's go ahead and test the bowling ball ability. This is our run stuffer. Now for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in Pat Tillman. Pat Tillman is our bowling ball, and we're going to try to see if we can get a solid outcome from him in this example. So once again, I'm just going to throw him out on the perimeter, see if we can get him to get some sheds here. I'll put him in space. I'll even move this guy inside. One of those two players should be hitting him here on this play. And you see right there that he also sheds. Now, albeit in that example, we did end up having that shed not able to get a tackle, but the big thing that we're noticing here is, once again, the bowling ball ability is shedding this particular player. Again, you're looking for Lamar to lay some lumber here, and he's simply not. So what we're going to do here to try to get an interaction between Pat Tillman and the heavier Vanguard is I'm going to actually physically move him all the way out here, and I'm going to move Mean Joe Green into the inside. I know that this is a little bit unconventional, but I'm going to motion Ted Hendricks out simply so we can get that kind of heavier player lined up directly against the lighter player with the bowling ball ability. So when I snap this ball here, you're going to see that he does end up getting a pretty good animation. But the thing that you notice in the background is that the other Vanguard struggled once again with Mean Joe Green. So there is a weight component that you need to kind of pay attention to when it comes to Vanguards. So some of these lighter Vanguards are going to be a little bit less effective. Whereas if you have a weight advantage, you might see an ability such as Vanguard be able to go through the bowling ball or the out my way if that player is a little lighter. So in the case of a Pat Tillman item, he's a little too undersized, even if you equip some sort of ability like this to make this happen. So that's kind of the take home. But again, in the background, you see here that Lamar Jackson is trying to play a Vanguard with a full head of steam on the Mean Joe Green, and Mean Joe Green with his out my way insta sheds him as if it was no issue. So the case in point here is pay attention to weight on top of the fact that you're using either out my way or the bowling ball ability. And then that's going to bring us to our final ability, which I think everybody knows is very, very good. And that is going to be the reinforcement ability. This ability is so incredibly valuable for so many players out there. I'm going to throw this out there with the new golden ticket Josh Uche corner item and Snoop Dogg side by side here. So that way, did I really just say Snoop Dogg? That, never mind. Anywho, we're going to throw these side by side so you guys can see how these work. So I'm going to put Snoop Dogg in space. I'm going to put Josh Uche in space. I'm actually going to motion Ted Hendricks out here. So we got big on the perimeter, and we kind of got small on small here in the slot. And what we're aiming for is to see how these abilities work. And you saw that Uche was not going to be vanguarded by the Ted Hendricks item. So again, I'll kind of do this once again, motion him out, and you're going to see here that he is still able to shed, and as did Snoop Dogg. So if you keep big on big and little on little, you guys will be able to neutralize the Vanguard ability with any of these three abilities. And once again, those are Relentless as a passive ability. It's an X factor. Those are a little bit harder to find. Out My Way, which is usually an early tier 1 or tier 2 bucket, I believe. A lot of those cards are going to get it for free. Or the Bowling Ball X Factor Run Stuffer. I will also note that Run Stuffer not only stops impact blocks, but it does a good job in the run game as well. So if you guys think inside stuff or no outsiders isn't very good, try the Bowling Ball ability as well, because you will be pleasantly surprised at how good this ability is. I've got them on all my defensive linemen, and it's really, really helpful. So if you guys want to use these on your D-line as well, but definitely make sure that you guys get one of the three abilities on the players that play coverage in space, because they're going to be getting vanguarded, and these are the best ways to neutralize it. Above all else, prioritize players with size with these abilities. That way you'll see less examples of players still knocking them over. I'm going to get up out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We'll be back tomorrow, and you guys can check out our short this afternoon. Until then, this is Ann. Get the lab and good luck.